What's up, people? Yeah, this has happened again, man. Another person got killed in Chicago in broad daylight. This happened 4 days ago. So yeah, this tells you right here, man. Chicago is just a shithole right here. It's basically like a third world country like Somalia, Iraq, and everything like that. So yeah, and I think it was a mayor or governor or something of Chicago. Like this shit happened. Johnson Miller. This guy's something I'm gonna show you right here. This sorry piece of shit right here. Or let the American people get killed since doing his fucking job. He said he don't want ICE in Chicago. And as you see what's happening, he's not controlling what's going on. He's not being responsible. He's not trying to get rid of bad people. No, he's letting all the American innocent civilians on his watch get killed by these illegal immigrants. So let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we?
You may know Chicago's kind of imploding. We have reported over the past couple of days that two of your boy, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, Brandy Boy Johnson, two of his top staffers have been fired in the previous days. And now we have word that another one just resigned, y'all. All of this is occurring while, unfortunately, Chicagoans continue to get killed. We're going to take a look at a particularly tragic story here first of an elderly man who was shot in Chicago in broad daylight, y'all. And then also, we're going to look at the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, Brandy Boy Johnson's response to the 18-year-old Loyola student who was killed by a person in the country without permission, y'all. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Shots fired.
Police tell me a 67-year-old man was on the street here just before 1 this afternoon when two armed defenders walked up to him, guns in hand, and fired shots.
Levitt and Madison. There's a person shot.
Police say he was shot in the head and rushed to Stroger, where he was pronounced dead, blocking off Madison for hours as they continued to investigate. Joe and Erica, police tell me two people of interest have been brought in for questioning with this deadly shooting, and we do know that two people were involved in this earlier today. CBS Skywatch capturing police checking out the guns left behind at this scene.
Two weapons on scene.
Take a look at your screen. An Eye in the Sky captured police surrounding two guns left on the sidewalk here on Madison near Levitt on the city's near west side. You can see here police down on the ground examining those weapons left behind. Now, of course, we're still working to learn more about the 67-year-old man shot and killed here and what led up to this deadly shooting. I've been checking in with Chicago police since this happened. Really tight-lipped right now.
So that's a particularly tragic situation, y'all. Just senseless violence happening in Chicago. Of course, yesterday we released a video about the 18-year-old Loyola student who was also shot, but this time by somebody who's in the country without permission. We know that your boy, he loves to protect those people. Those are apparently his favorite people. And so yesterday in his news conference, he had an opportunity to apologize to the family of that young lady. Of course, it has been reported that this person in the country without permission had been in Chicago police custody multiple times, but released multiple times as well, potentially, probably because of Brandy Boy's policies, which are favorable to people who don't have permission to be in the country. So let's see what he had to say for himself, y'all.
And other victims who have fallen because of senseless violence, we're going to double down on our efforts to ensure that we create safe communities across the city. And we're going to continue to pray for those victims.
Will you take this opportunity to apologize to Sheridan's parents for the policies that you promoted that directly caused her death? That suspect would not be in the city, would not be in the country, but for your policies. Will you take this opportunity to apologize?
Well, again, I believe that we're all grieving the loss of Sheridan and other folks who have lost their lives because of senseless violence. And let's just be very clear, between the Safety Act and the Welcoming City Ordinance, the Welcoming City Ordinance was passed 40 years ago by the first black mayor in the history of Chicago. And the Safety Act was passed under the governor, at that time who was a Republican, Governor Rauner. Thank you for your question.
So you will not apologize to Sheridan's parents? Hi, Mayor.
No, he's not gonna apologize. Because he does not give a fuck about none of y'all. Okay? He don't give a fuck about the people in Chicago he's over. The only people he fucking cares about is the fucking foreigners. That's what the whole Democrat Party. They don't give a fuck about American citizens, only the fucking illegal immigrants. And you see in California, they passed a bill, no voter ID. Meaning you can vote without no fucking ID. That happened out in California. That's a Democrat state too. When are your dumbasses gonna realize Democrats don't give a fuck about American people? Only the foreigners. Only the fucking foreigners. They don't care about the blacks. They don't care about the whites. They don't care about the gays. They care about the fucking foreigners. When y'all people gonna wake up and realize Democrats don't give a fuck about nobody but these goddamn foreigners? Shit. And it's a clear example. He did not apologize for his fucking what happened. His rules. What causes the girl to get killed because these illegal immigrants over there in Chicago get by with the shit. Watch the video again.
I want to follow up on some of the other appointments.
And finally, y'all, as all of this happens, you have, again, two top staffers in public safety, believe it or not. Two of his top people in public safety who he just fired. And now another person who's also working with the public, another top staffer just resigned. And it looks like she's saying that something unethical is going on in the Brandy Boy administration, y'all. So he has lost 3 top people just over the last several days.
Yeah, it just seems like there's a trend here of high-profile folks either being fired or resigning or some combination of both. So what's happening right now? We're talking about the city's Human Rights Commissioner, Nancy Andrade. So that office enforces the Human Rights Ordinance, protecting historically marginalized communities, protecting against hate crimes, as well as enforcing the city's Fair Housing Ordinance. So Andrade has served in this role since 2021. She abruptly announced her resignation last night, effective right now. She sent a statement to Fox Chicago, and let me read a very intriguing part of it. She says, quote, "As the head of the CCHR, but also as a licensed attorney, I took an oath to uphold these values, as well as a strict code of ethics. My resignation is in service of that oath." Hint, hint, hint. Something is not right here in the 5th floor, as you can tell by that statement.
So she insinuates that there's something unethical happening in the Brandy Boy, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating administration, y'all. And if you want some more detail on that, thankfully, the reporters at Fox were able to get additional detail. You would have never guessed, probably. I would have never guessed that this is what it would have been, but I don't know. I guess it's keeping with the times, y'all. This is the world we're living in nowadays.
Okay, so you have a statement there. Is this kind of in a line with what everybody else has been talking to you about the problems in the mayor's office and why people are leaving or being fired?
Well, yeah, and let's remind folks of what's going on the last few days. Garion Gatewood, who is the deputy mayor for public safety, he was fired because of a quote-unquote change in direction, but then we had allegations flying each way of a hostile work environment among the mayor's staff, among Gatewood's staff. What this is about, I've spoken to a number of sources, and this stems from a report that Andrade and the Human Rights Commission has put out on anti-Semitism. So what happened was there was a study that showed a rise in specifically anti-Semitic incidents going on. So her office put out this report that came out in February. But there was a dispute between her and the mayor's team. What I'm told by sources is they wanted to remove a lot of references to anti-Semitism and make it more about hate in general. But her point was this report is supposed to be about anti-Semitism specifically. And there is some concern among Jewish groups right now. I'll read a statement from 50th Ward Alderwoman Deborah Silverstein, who is a prominent Jewish American member. She says her resignation raises broader concerns about the direction of our mayoral administration. The Jewish community deserves partners in City Hall who will listen, collaborate, and act with urgency in the face of rising hate. Those standards have too often not been met under Mayor Brandon Johnson.
So yeah, y'all, Chicago continues to be a very dangerous place where you can't be a senior walking down the street because you might get shot in the head, where you can't be a student walking down the street because you might get shot in the head, where you can be a person in the country without permission, because nothing will happen to you. And if anything does happen to you, Brandy Boy Johnson's going to come to your rescue. Going to make sure you have food, clothing, water, that you feel safe, and that if anybody tries to arrest you, he'll get you out and let you back on the street, particularly if you committed a crime, y'all. I don't know. I think that right now people are looking to see election season's going to be coming around soon. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy doesn't even run for re-election. But I certainly can't see how he would win. Y'all, let me know. Do you think that Brandy Boy Johnson even runs for re-election? I think.
Yeah, Brandy Johnson is to blame for that young girl getting killed by this illegal immigrant. So yeah. So we go ahead and get in the video right here and let's watch this video, okay? Because Brandy Johnson is responsible for what happened in his state. He's responsible for that girl that got killed on the Chicago train. He's responsible for the other ones that got killed. All that shit going on. So yeah, Brandy Johnson, this piece of shit, he's responsible for whatever happens in his town. People gets killed, he's responsible for it. Or who they're gonna blame? Or they're gonna blame Trump. They're gonna blame Trump for what happens because this dumbass fucker can't do his job. So let's go ahead and get on the video, shall we?
Hey, go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now y'all, today we're going to be bringing you two different stories out of the city of Chicago where your boy, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of that city, that great windy city, Brandy Boy Johnson, is not doing such a great job, y'all. The first story is a tragedy where a young lady was shot and killed on the campus of a local Chicago university, and everyone's coming out and saying, look, this was the most preventable tragedy ever because she was killed by somebody who's in the country without permission. And people are also calling your boy to task for that because we all know that he loves those people who are in the country without permission. And then the second story, y'all, is a follow-up on how he has fired two people who are in his office of public safety. You know how he always likes to tout that the violence numbers have come down? Well, these are two people who claim responsibility for helping that happen, and he's fired them. And they say that part of it has to do with there is an atmosphere of no accountability in the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor's administration. So they don't want accountability is what these two fired employees are saying. And another thing is that he doesn't respect the police, y'all. So we're going to look at both of these, and I think you can draw a parallel between them. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
So a criminal illegal migrant from Venezuela is due in court today after being charged with murder and other felonies in the death of an 18-year-old college student in Chicago. Sheridan Gorman was shot and killed while walking with friends near campus. Her family saying, quote, Sheridan was 18. She had her entire life ahead of her education, her future, her family.
Now, Fox gets reporter William Kelly to chime in about this tragedy and about the fact that the police have arrested this alleged killer many, many times, but under the Johnson administration's policies, they have released him onto the streets time and time again, according to reporter William Kelly, who might be the single best person that Fox could have talked to about this situation.
Veteran Chicago reporter William J. Kelly joins us now. William, thanks so much for joining the program. I just want to go through Medina's history. In May 9th, 2023, Medina was apprehended by the Border Patrol and released into the country under the Biden administration. And then June 23, Medina was released again following an arrest for shoplifting in Chicago. What do you make of this?
God bless you, Lawrence. Thank you for bringing attention to this issue. No one else will talk about it, apparently. You know, as a lifelong Chicagoan, it breaks my heart. As a Loyola University alum, it breaks my heart, but it also makes me angry because this was the single most avoidable loss of life, Sheridan Gorman, in the history of Chicago. The suspect was well known to police. God bless the Chicago Police Department. They've arrested this guy over and over and over again. Judge Gonzalez let him out. so that he could kill, allegedly, so far we're, getting all the details, but, Judge Gonzalez let the suspect out, and now he's
William,
being charged.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but so we only have some of the facts in our newsroom, but you're telling me based on the information that you have, he was arrested multiple times in Chicago?
Multiple times. Deportable offenses, Lawrence. These were This is why it was so avoidable. This suspect never should have been in the country to begin with. Obviously, he wouldn't have been able to kill Sheridan if he wasn't in the country. But multiple deportable offenses. And God bless the CPD, the Chicago police, because they have been arresting this guy despite the fact that Mayor Johnson is endlessly telling them not to touch the illegals, not to detain them, not to turn them over to ICE. And I've asked Mayor Johnson about this over and over and over again. He just gives me the same dead-eyed, blank stare. And we have a revolving door now. So people might say, well, at least this suspect is behind bars now. Guess what? There are thousands of Jose Medinas that are in a revolving door that's going around so fast, Lawrence, that I'm surprised that they're not flying out of the jail.
Now, we all know that your boy has called law enforcement a sickness, and that he has even been banned from multiple police funerals after police have died. Chicago police have died. They've come out, the families have come out and actually told him, don't come to the funeral. We don't want you here. So there's no love lost between him and the police. And this seems to be reflected in the fact that he just fired 2 of the people who were in his Office of Public Safety. These are people who were working to make the city safer. Your boy always says that the city is safer now than ever. Seems like he'd be giving them a promotion, if anything, but instead he's firing them. And they're saying it's because the administration lacks accountability, resists accountability, and furthermore, they say that your boy doesn't show the proper respect to the Chicago PD, y'all. That's the Chicago Police Department.
Another fired top official in Mayor Johnson's administration is speaking out exclusively to Fox 32 Chicago. Manny Whitfield, the head of the Office of Violence Prevention, was fired Thursday along with Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Garion Gatewood. Neither of them are going quietly. Political reporter Paris Schutz has more.
Manny Whitfield served in city government for 7 years, most recently side by side with fired former Deputy Mayor Garion Gatewood. He and Gatewood were suddenly fired on Thursday despite progress on gun violence reduction. Now, Gatewood spoke out alleging a lack of accountability in the mayor's office, and now Whitfield is taking it a step further. Whitfield reveals he and Gatewood filed an Inspector General complaint last October against top mayoral staffers, including Chief of Staff Cristina Pacione-Zayas and political advisor Jason Lee. He also says he believes the firing stems from an employee in the office who performed subpar and did not show up for work. But that employee is a close ally of Johnson's senior leadership team. The employee was placed on a performance improvement plan, but instead of improving, the mayor decided to part ways with Gatewood and Whitfield. His senior leadership team alleges they created the hostile work environment. What are the tensions surrounding?
Accountability. It is a nature in the office that when you hold folks accountable, that you are a threat. And accountability, putting somebody on a performance improvement plan, is not a threat. That is a perfect form of accountability because it gives an individual the opportunity to put their best foot forward.
Whitfield also says he and Gatewood clashed with the mayor and his leadership team over the relationship with law enforcement and whether or not Mayor Johnson showed up enough for fallen service members. Do you believe there's this hostility toward law enforcement in the mayor's office, and this is something important for Chicagoans to know?
Absolutely. There is a level of hostility, and it's our job in the mayor's office, well, it was our job, in the mayor's office of community safety to balance that out. We understand that there has been harm caused in the past, and it is our job to make sure that the police department moves in the right direction, and they have been with the consent decree.
Whitfield's comments echo Gatewood's, who spoke to us hours after his firing last Thursday.
I think there is a culture in this office where when you work to hold people accountable, you become a target.
So yeah, y'all, I wish it weren't true, but this is the real world, and we'll likely keep seeing stories like this. Condolences to the family of this young lady who lost her life. It's gut-wrenching as a father. It's gut-wrenching as a person who who lives in the United States of America. So anyway, do you think that this tragedy may change some kind